Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is Future Chapter 6. This one is titled Bakugou Baby Overdue. Just a side note before we start, there is an adult scene in here that I have cut out, but I will put the link in the description. It had been 3 weeks since Soshi Todoroki had been born, and naturally the news reporters had gotten a hold of the exciting announcement and broadcast it immediately. Kirishima, Kaminari, and surprisingly Bakugou had all been there to see the new baby, and Kirishima was especially interested. "I wonder what his quirk will be," he commented to Bakugou as they left the hospital together after the visit. "Who gives a damn?" Bakugou responded. Kirishima furrowed his brows. "Bro, how can you not care? You're going to be a father any day now. Don't you care about babies even just a little bit?" "I only care about mine, because it's going to be the best baby out there," Bakugou said with a proud smirk as he walked beside his red-headed friend. "How many days to go now before your boy is born?" Kiri asked, excited to meet the newest Bakugou member. "She's due in 2 days," he replied. "Are you ready?" Kirishima asked, eyeing Bakugou as they walked. "Hell yeah," Bakugou replied confidently. Kiri chuckled internally. "Yeah, that's Bakugou for you, overconfident as always." They said their goodbyes as they reached their cars and headed home to their respective wives. 2 days came and went, and Mrs. Bakugou was pissed, to say the least. "Oh, I want this damn baby out," she growled as she waddled around the house. She had followed every damn rule to get labour started, but nothing had worked so far. She had eaten papaya, gone for long walks, bounced on a Swiss ball, everything. Except for doing the dirty, of course, which was high on the list for bringing on labour. She was now 2 days overdue and desperate. She and Bakugou hadn't done it for over a month now, and she could tell he was blue-balling. Maybe it would be worthwhile using him to get this baby out. She glanced at the clock. Bakugou would be home in the next half hour. She smirked. Perfect. I'll drag him into the bedroom the minute he gets home. She sat down at the kitchen bench and waited. Finally he arrived. His greeting was cut short as his wife approached him and pulled him in for an intense kiss. He smirked, feeling her knead through the kiss. "Is somebody in the mood for a—" "Shut up and take me," she growled, grabbing him by the front of his shirt and pulling him forwards. Without a second thought, he reached under her thighs and hoisted her up with ease, despite her overly pregnant belly in the way. And like the hero he was, he carried her gently yet purposefully to the bedroom, then lay her down on her side and propped pillows around her as he kissed her down her neck and shoulder, pulling her shirt up and continuing down her side and over her very pregnant belly, earning himself a sharp bop on the lips as the baby swiveled around and kicked him. His wife giggled. "He's a crack shot with his kicks and punches," she said as Bakugou growled at her belly. "Listen here, you little-ish. I won't be having any of that attitude when you get out here, you hear me?" His wife giggled again, and Bakugou made his way around the other side of her and pulled the front of her top up and reached around behind her to unclip her bra. "I might have a sleep," she said drowsily as he kissed her lips lovingly. "Sure, baby. You want me to make dinner?" he asked slowly. "Oh, yes, please," she said through a yawn. "Can you make it a spicy cutlets bowl?" "Spicy?" he asked with surprise. "You don't even like Yeah, I know, but I've heard that it helps bring on labour, so I'll eat it," she said dismissively. "Okay, you're frickin' crazy," he said with a smirk. "But I'll make it now, and when you wake up you can eat it." "Thanks, babe," she said, her eyelids fluttering closed. Bakugou snorted softly and shook his head before leaning in and kissing her on the forehead. It was a little while later, and Bakugou had just finished making dinner when he heard a low groan come from the bedroom. He paused and listened. Was that just her waking up and trying to get out of bed? He waited. Another minute or so and he heard another groaning moan. The sound made the hair on the back of his neck stand up on end, and he dropped everything and ran to the bedroom. "Babe," he shouted as he skidded into the room. "You okay?" His wife growled at him. "I'm in pain! I'm not okay!" Bakugou didn't quite know what to say and walked to the side of the bed to help his wife up. "Don't touch me!" she hissed. This was completely out of character for her, and he was hella confused. He extended his hand towards her again to help her up, and she cried out again as another strong contraction hit her. He yelped, flinching at the ferocity of her yell. "Get me to the hospital!" she howled. Bakugou shot into action. He raced out of the bedroom door, and then immediately back in, his head snapping left and right, looking for the hospital bag. He located the bag and grabbed it, jumping violently again when his wife screamed again as she tried to pull herself up and out of bed. He tried to offer her a hand for the third time and had it violently smacked away. Bakugou was used to being the one to dole out the harsh words and aggressive attitude, so this was throwing him for a loop. It was especially baffling that it was coming from his usually cheerful and well-mannered wife. Was she possessed? He watched helplessly as she waddled out of the room and down the hallway to the car, stopping 2 or 3 times to clutch her pregnant belly and emit a low, agonising moan. He shifted his weight from one foot to the other, impatient and fretful, feeling really out of his depth with this situation. He finally got her to the car and threw the bag in the back and onto the back seat before hopping in the driver's side. "Ring the hospital!" his wife snapped, and he quickly pulled his phone out and dialed the number. A little bit later, as he pulled into the hospital emergency driveway, the midwives came out and helped his screaming wife from the car. He started to follow, but then realised the car was still in the driveway, lights on, engine running, and the bag was still in the back. "Crap!" he yelled and raced back to park the car and grab the bag. A few moments later after that, Bakugou raced into the hospital and grabbed the first nursing staff shirt that he could get his hands on. "Where have they taken my wife?" he yelled in a panic. Mr. Dynamite, sir, right this way." The poor flustered nurse stammered as she turned on her heels, forcing him to release his grip, and trotted off down the hallway with Bakugou hot on her heels. Bakugou could hear the screams of his wife as he approached the birthing suite, and his hair stood on end. There was something terrifying about her cries. He'd never heard that noise before. "She's 8 centimetres already," he heard one nurse say to the other as he entered the room. "What does that mean?" Bakugou shot at the nurse, demanding an answer. "It means she's dilated very quickly and the baby is going to be born very soon," she said, racing out of the door to grab some pain medication for Mrs. Bakugou. Bakugou paced helplessly back and forth by the bedside, desperately wanting to do something but not knowing what to do. He tried to get close to his wife, but she'd scream at him to get away every time he tried to touch her, so he reluctantly retreated. Her screams were getting more and more intense, and the midwives were literally running in and out of the room, and Bakugou was only catching bits of conversation that made no sense to him. "Her waters just broke, there's meconium present," one nurse called to the senior midwife who was in charge. "How far is she dilated?" the senior midwife called back. 9.5 centimetres, the first nurse replied. "Okay, good. Monitor the baby's heart rate," the senior called back. Bakugou just looked with absolute confusion from one nurse to the other as they spoke a completely unknown language to him. The confused kitty look was real. "Hun, are you ready to push?" the senior midwife addressed Bakugou's wife. "Just get this baby out!" she growled in return. The midwife nodded. "Okay, it's go time. When you feel a contraction, push," she commanded. The next contraction followed the command, and Mrs. Bakugou screamed and pushed with all her might, her face turning bright red. "Heart rate is dropping," the midwife who was monitoring the baby's heart rate called. The senior acknowledged the announcement and turned her attention back to Mrs. Bakugou. "Sweetheart, we need to get this baby out immediately. Push!" Mrs. Bakugou screamed a deep animalistic scream and pushed again. "I can see the head," the midwife at the end of the table called. "Heart rate is critical," the monitoring midwife called. "Damn it!" the senior growled. "Pass me the scissors." "Scissors!" Bakugou yelled. Finally, a word he understood, but not the word he wanted to hear. The senior midwife ignored him and grabbed the surgical scissors from the assistant and quickly walked to the end of the bed. Cliffhanger. I've warned you guys so much. Don't trust me with the cliffhangers. See you tomorrow. Bye!